Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another Facebook Live broadcast in the VOpreneur group. I'm Marc Scott, and the subject that I want to talk to you about today is one that has come up. It's one that's been around for as long as social media has been around, but for some particular reason, and I'm not totally sure why, it's one that has come up to me multiple times in the last couple of days. I've had this conversation with a number of voice actors, and I decided that rather than just having the same conversation over and over and over again with individual people, maybe this is one of those subjects that I needed to bring up in the VOpreneur group and address the topic live. So that's what we're going to do. So what I want to talk to you about today is the subject of sharing posts of your work in social media. So you book a job, you get back the finished project, it's a commercial, it's a video, whatever the case may be, and you share that post on your Facebook wall, you share that post on Twitter, you share that post on LinkedIn, and it's a really hot topic right now. And I know that it's one that can stir up a lot of emotions and a lot of different feelings from people. And so what I want to share with you today is my perspective. This is my take on the subject. Does that mean that it is the right take? Not necessarily. Is it the only take? Absolutely not. But people do come and ask me for my thoughts on the subject, and so I wanted to share them. So let's talk about sharing your work in social media. Question number one is, should I share my work in social media? We see voice actors doing this all the time. And my initial response is the same every time. Are you friends with any other professionals on Facebook? And if you are, does the local plumber share a picture every time he fixes a toilet? Does the local dentist share a video every time he has a successful root canal? Does the local doctor share a status update every time he comes home from seeing a patient? Does the mechanic share a video or a picture every time he successfully fixes a car? This is what these people do for a living. Doctors are supposed to heal people. Dentists are supposed to fix teeth. Mechanics are supposed to repair vehicles. Voice actors are supposed to book voiceover. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So do you really have to announce it every time you do it? That's what you're supposed to be doing. So right off the bat, my initial response and my initial opinion is no, you don't need to share every time you book a voiceover job, every time you complete a voiceover job. And I think that this becomes more about the humble brag, which is really annoying. And I also think that it's about validation. More than anything, I'll tell you this, I love the voiceover community. I think it's a beautiful, wonderful, supportive, encouraging community. But I've never worked in any other industry where I have seen so many people that are so actively seeking pats on the bum that they've done a good job. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily. I get it. VoiceOver is very isolating. We work from home in our studios all day long. We don't have a lot of interaction with other people, maybe unless we live in a major center where we're going to other studios to record. And so every once in a while, we just want some human interaction. And we do want somebody to tell us that we're doing a good job. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so I think that more than anything is why a lot of people post their work on social media, because they want to get those likes. They want to get that hit in their brain that comes from the notification that says you got a Facebook like, or you got a Facebook comment, or you got a Facebook share. And so I think a lot of voice actors share their work for validation. More than anything else, they're doing it for validation. Is that right or wrong? I'm not going to say. I don't think it's marketing though. And that's where I have an issue, is when people tell me, well, I'm doing it for marketing. This is how I market myself. Well, let me ask you a question. When you are sharing a project that you have voiced on Facebook, who is your primary Facebook audience? Are you Facebook friends, or are the majority of your Facebook friends your clients, your leads, your prospects, the people who are going to potentially hire you for work? Or are the majority of your Facebook friends other voice actors who are going to give you a pat on the bum and tell you how great you are and how great you did? If you're being honest with yourself, I think you're going to quickly realize that your voiceover or your list of friends on Facebook are probably more voice actors than they are voice seekers. So to say that you're doing it for marketing doesn't make any sense at that point, because voice actors are probably not going to be the ones that are hiring you for voiceover. And so that is why I think that a lot of people are doing it for humble brags, for validation. I also think, and this might sound shocking to some of you, but I also truly believe that there are a lot of people who do it to validate themselves because they think they're a big deal, or they want to create the perception that they're a big deal. And so they have to post their work on Facebook to create the perception that they are a big deal so that other people will think they are a big deal, because maybe they're not such a big deal. And that may sound harsh, and I don't mean it to sound harsh or rude, but I do think that it happens. I think that sometimes people use Facebook to create a perception of a certain reality, whether that reality exists or not. I don't share my work on my Facebook wall. If you go back through, I don't think you're going to find a whole lot of examples of me sharing my work on my Facebook wall, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, my audience on Facebook is primarily voice actors, and so they're not going to hire me. Second of all, I'm too busy actually doing work to share the work. And third of all, voiceover is what I'm supposed to be doing. Of course I'm booking. I don't need to tell everybody every time I do it. That's what I do for a living. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't do that. Now, that said, here's the other side of the coin. If you are genuinely wanting to share your work for the purposes of marketing, then it becomes a matter of how you are sharing it, what you are saying when you're sharing it, and where you are sharing it. So I'm going to read you a post that I put on LinkedIn. This is one example of me sharing my work on social media. And what the post says is, when it comes to telling the story of your brand, animated explainer videos are one of the best ways to do it. Short, creative, engaging, highly shareable on the web. A great explainer video needs the right voice to tell the story. Trust that part to me. Here's a project I voiced for ShareIQ. And I shared the video. I tagged ShareIQ in it. I was giving them a little bit of love, giving them a little bit of promotion, but I was also speaking to a specific need that some of my audience members would have, looking for a narrator to tell their story. I wasn't sharing the post saying, hey, look at me in this video that I voiced and how great I am. I wasn't sharing a post to say, hey, look at me in this big name client that I booked and how great I am. I was sharing a post that says, this is potentially a problem that you, as a client, might have, and here is the solution that I, as a voice actor, offer to that problem. Two completely different messages for two different audiences with two different intentions. And so before you go to share your work on social media, the first thing that I want you to do is honestly assess your motives. Are you doing it to get a pat on the bum? If you're doing it to get a pat on the bum and you need that pat on the bum, I'm not going to stop you from doing it, but don't try to pretend like you're doing it for marketing. You're doing it for a pat on the bum, for an attaboy, for somebody to tell you that you've done a good job. Or you're doing it because you want to stick it in the face of other voice actors. Look at me and the job that I booked. You'll see that every once in a while, particularly if there's a really great job that goes up on a casting site. And maybe 100 other voice actors have auditioned for that project. And from time to time, you'll see the winning voice actor posts that project because they booked it. And they're not doing it because they want to market themselves. They're doing it because they want to say, look at me, I booked the job and the other 99 suckers didn't. I just don't think that that's a classy way to run your business. That's just me, okay? That's just me. And I understand that this is not going to be a popular opinion with some people. There are a lot of people who just want to share their work because they're proud of their work. And if you're proud of your work and you want to share it, I do think that you can do that with the intention and the messaging of marketing. I'll tell you who I'm proud of, though. I'm not proud of me and my voiceovers. I'm proud of my clients and the work that they're creating. So when I'm sharing projects on social media, I'm sharing it because I want to be a fan of my client. If I can share a video that they've created and help them to get more views on their YouTube video, or help them to get more likes on their social media channel, or even better, help them to get people to buy their product or their service or their brand, that's what I want to do. I want to be a fan of my client. I want to show my support to the client. They chose me. I want to give something back to them. I don't need my validation from other voice actors telling me that I did a good job. My validation comes when the check clears. Let's be honest. The people that are hiring me for the work, that are paying me the money, that are paying off the invoices, those are the people that give me my validation. At the end of the month, if I've met my income goals and all of my invoices have been paid and none of my clients are complaining, that's all the validation that I need as a working voice actor. That's all I need to know that I did a great job. I've taken care of my family, I've paid my mortgage, my clients are happy, I'm running a successful business. That's the validation that I need. I don't need to humble brag on Facebook. I don't choose to humble brag on Facebook or other social media. So guys, when it comes down to it, that's really what I think it's about. I think it's about who you're sharing it to and why you are choosing to share it. If you're sharing it because you just want people to tell you you've done a good job, then just be honest about that. Don't try to pass it off as marketing. But if you are trying to share it as marketing, then that's where the messaging comes into play. That's when the messaging stops being about you and about your work and about the fact that it's you that did the project. The messaging becomes about, here's an example of how you might be able to benefit from a voiceover. Check out this project for, and tag the company. Now, the other side of this equation, and I'll touch on this briefly, and I am not an expert on this particular subject, but for those of you that are familiar with Rob Sigampaglia, I've had him do some guest blog posts on my blog at marcscottcoaching.com before. Rob is an attorney. He is also an actor and a voice actor, a successful working actor and voice actor. So when it comes to sharing posts on social media, the other thing that's very important to take into consideration in all of this, apart from the reasons why, is do you have permission? This is so important, so important. The last thing that you want to do is share a post on social media and talk about the fact that it was you if you do not have permission from the client to do it. So right off the bat, if you've signed a non-disclosure agreement, you better not be sharing anything. If you didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement, you still want to make sure that you have permission to do it. Now, if somebody sends something out on Twitter and you're retweeting something, that's an implied consent, but it doesn't mean that you can say that you did the work. You're just retweeting a tweet that they shared. I personally think that it is always a good idea to get permission from somebody before you share anything on social media or on the website. One of the other reasons for this is there are a lot of clients who create these videos as part of larger advertising campaigns. And as part of that larger advertising campaign, they're running very complex analytics to determine where their video views are coming from, how those video views have come in. And because of that, they want to control where and how and when it is shared on social media. And so by you going and saying, oh, well, the video's on YouTube, it must be okay, grabbing it and sharing it in a bunch of social media posts, you could potentially be getting yourself into trouble with that client. And maybe it could be legal trouble, or maybe it could be something as simple as, you know what, you did this, you didn't ask for our permission, we don't want to work with you again. That wasn't professional. So that's the other side of this coin too. Sharing on social media. Determine why you're doing it. Make sure that your message is appropriate. Really, just don't do it. If it's just about humble brags and validations and getting pats on the bum, there are better ways to do that. And I don't think that that's necessarily the right way to run your business. But again, that's my personal opinion. But also be very cautious of what you are sharing and make sure that you have permission to share it and permission to tag the client before you do it. One simple email to ask could save you weeks, months, or years of headaches down the road. Guys, thanks so much for watching. That wraps up this one, talking about social media. If you do have any other questions, Marc at marcscottvoiceover.com. And as always, if there are other topics that you would like me to talk about in upcoming Facebook Lives or videos for my YouTube channel or for blogs at marcscottcoaching.com, you can comment it, you can send me a direct message through Facebook, or you can send an email to Marc at marcscottvoiceover.com. Always looking for your suggestions, your feedback. Always want to make sure that I'm providing you with the valuable content that you need to help you become a successful VOpreneur. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, guys. Get out there and find some new voiceover leads. Talk to you later.